Piercings, helmets, safety gear. Coming up next on Body Piercing Basics, episode number 59. So you should stick around. For those who are new to the channel, my name is DaVo. I'm a professional body piercer and have been since 1994. I own and operate the Axiom Body Piercing Studio located here in Des Moines, Iowa, inside Skin Kitchen Tattoo. So when I talk to you about these things, I'm talking at a level of expertise as someone who has performed thousands upon thousands of piercings and been in the industry for a substantial period of time. Today's topic comes from one of our viewers, Kiri Patterson. I hope I'm pronouncing that, or is it Kiri Patterson? Hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. If not, please let me know, and thank you for the subject. They asked whether or not I could do a video pertaining to piercings and healing out piercings and wearing helmets. Their main mode of transportation is a scooter, and let's face it, it's getting a little warmer. We're hitting the end of February. Everybody out there that has one of those two-wheeled vehicles is itching to get out there and get on them. So I think it's a good subject to cover this time of year. There's three major concerns when you are, when it comes to helmets and when it comes to piercings. And those are, first off and foremost, the location of the piercing. Second, the cleanliness of the safety gear. And the third one being is room for the piercing in that safety gear. So let's start with helmets because that's probably the most common one. First off, before we get too far into this, I should probably point out, if you have the option of healing out a piercing, especially if it's one of the more difficult heals, like industrials or upper ear cartilage or rooks or forward helix, if you can heal those when you're not going to be wearing a helmet, it's going to be much better, it's going to be much easier, and you're going to have a faster and less traumatic heal. Okay, so when you're picking out a helmet or picking out a piercing to get, or what have you, here's what I would really, some suggestions I would make. The first one being is if you're buying a helmet, make sure that the helmet has a lot of extra space for ears. Some of them tend to be a little bit more tighter to the ear area. Some of them are a bit more loose. Some of them just have the padding that's on the top of the head and then down around the neck area in the back of the neck. If you can get that area that's inside the helmet as far away from your ears as possible, it's going to make it much easier to isolate the piercing, and you're going to probably see less issues or problems with it. Avoid chin straps, or some people call brain buckets or the half helmets. When you're trying it on, realize where that chin strap actually comes in contact with your ear. If you have a piercing in that area, I would advise to get something else. That is going to just get in contact with it. It's going to cause problems, and it's going to cause a lot of pressure against the piercing and make it very uncomfortable. Next one is find one that has a washable. I'm Midwestern, people. Wash. I know there's not an R in there, but I can't help myself. It's how I was raised. Anyway, make sure that it has a washable liner, or another option would be to wear, and I've had clients do this in the past, wear one of those mesh stretchy face masks to cover the piercing. The reason being is you're going to be sweating probably. You're going to be coming in contact with hair products and etc. in your helmet, and we need to clean that on a regular basis to make sure we don't contaminate the piercing. This is especially true if you're healing out a piercing. Make sure the helmet is snug from the standpoint of it doesn't move around a lot. Yes, you want that space, but you also want it tight enough that it's not constantly shaking up and down or moving around this way where it may come in contact or agitate any piercing that you may have. With eyebrow piercings, even though I've been kind of talking mostly about ear piercings, eyebrow piercings would probably be the only other piercing that would be affected by helmet wear. You want to make sure that there's no contact with the piercing when you try the helmet on. Most of them, like I said, tend to have kind of a cutoff that's about like this as far as padding and etc. Usually there's not a lot of padding around your mouth, so lip piercings, labret piercings, nostril piercings usually not as impacted. However, if you have an eyebrow piercing and that edge of the helmet is really far down, constant agitation and rubbing could cause issues. Lastly, with ears and helmets and etc., is figure out a way to kind of guide the helmet on. Cover the ear piercing while you're putting on the helmet. I know it's going to take some practice. It'll be kind of a pain in the ass, but positioning them without catching them constantly on the foam on the bottom and etc., and getting that banging and clacking, you're going to see more when you're taking the helmet off and when you're putting it back on. If you can figure out a way to kind of protect your ear while you're putting it on, it's going to be much more simpler and it's going to be easier to deal with. Now let's talk about you decided you're going to get a healing piercing and you're going to wear a helmet all summer or what have you. Some things that you want to consider when deciding which piercings to get and which piercings to kind of avoid until you have some time where you're not going to be wearing a helmet. Number one is avoid piercings that are on the outer edge of your ear. This would include helixes, forward helixes, I would say any upper ear cartilage, rook piercings, and possibly trachea and antitrachea piercings. Try to choose piercings that are more inside the ear or more protected. Lobes tend to kind of be out there, so that might not be the best option. However, things like depth piercings, where really it does not come in contact with things that often, or even a conch piercing might be a better option or a better idea. I would avoid, for example, getting an industrial piercing because it's probably going to get knocked around a lot during the healing process if you're always wearing a helmet. The second thing would be is avoid jewelry that has a high profile. For example, instead of wearing a ring in your upper ear cartilage, wear a stud-style piece of jewelry like a labret stud or a barbell. Try to reduce the amount of space that jewelry takes up. Stay away from things like clusters. They have that large band of gems and all that fancy stuff. Stay away from things that have sharp edges, points, things that attach to it, things that hang off of it. All of those things are like a little finger out there going, catch me, please. And like I said, a lot of the trauma you're going to probably experience is taking the helmet off and putting it back on. So if you have things that are going to catch on the helmet, you're going to have more trauma. With helmets done, that's about all I have to say. And if you guys have suggestions, please leave them in the comments. Let's move on to chest protectors, because that's probably the second most common thing I get. And then the third thing being face masks. Chest protectors affecting nipple piercings and navel piercings. One thing, it's an old school remedy, is to go out and buy the plastic eye shields. You can find them at most drugstores. They're fairly inexpensive, and they're kind of dome shaped. So you can place the piercing, take the piercing, my fist is the piercing, and then you put this plastic dome over it so that there's kind of a buffer zone between contact with that chest protector and everything else in the piercing itself in the jewelry. It's not a 100% thing, but it will help. With face masks, primarily what we're concerned with is if it is actually coming in contact with the piercings on your face. Really, with this one, I did have a client that had some issues for one reason or another with their labret piercing because of where it was positioned, and the mask that he was wearing was constantly getting caught on the jewelry. So take that into account. Make sure that when you put it on, kind of shield it with your face before you pull it on is a good idea. Well, I think that pretty much covers the only real 3 or 4 different ways that I think that safety gear could affect a piercing during the healing process or afterwards. I hope that you've learned something. I hope I gave you some good ideas to help you get through that and get out there and enjoy your motorcycle, scooter, bicycle, baseball, football, whatever the heck you do for fun and exercise. Now, if you feel like I missed something or I covered something kind of vaguely and you want me to go more in depth, please leave a comment. If you have something to add to the conversation, if there's something you feel like, hey, he didn't say this, and this is a great idea, this is what I do, please leave a comment. We're all about sharing information with other people here, and if you could help somebody else out, I'm sure that if they were put in the same position, they would love to do that for you. If you liked the video and found it informative, give me a thumbs up. If you would like to make sure that you don't miss any of the videos we post, which is between right now about 3 to 4 a week, hit the subscription and ring the notification bell so that you're notified every time we post something. Check out our merch store. We finally have the merch shelf at the bottom. There's a few things that are waiting to be reviewed by the god that is YouTube. And as soon as they come down with our approval, they'll be listed down there. In the meantime, there is a link in the description. I usually put up a card too. We have t-shirts, pretty much everything Teespring offers, including bed sheets, throw pillows, tote bags, decals, coffee mugs, etc. With designs by the artists here at the Skin Kitchen and myself. So show your pride in body piercing and tattooing and look stylish at the same time by picking up one of our fabulous pieces of merch. Swag, I like to call it. Till next time, here's hoping all your piercings heal with ease and without a single issue. And if you're in the Des Moines, Iowa area, I hope to see if your body piercing needs in the future. Thanks for watching. Have a good day, everybody. Go out there and make a difference in someone else's life. Just a small one. Open the door for them or, tell them they look nice. Because it's up to you to make the world a better place. Have a good day.